mountain road was almost pitch black, except for the weak beams of my headlights. Rain hammered the windshield, turning the narrow asphalt into a shimmering river of dark reflections. The wipers squealed with every pass, their rhythm almost mocking my nerves. I had no signal. The GPS had given up miles ago, and my only company was the hum of the engine and the endless forest pressing in from both sides. I hated this road. The trees leaned inward like twisted guardians, their branches interlocking above me to form a suffocating tunnel. Every curve felt like I was leaving the world I knew and driving into a place that wanted to swallow me whole. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. I told myself I'd be fine. But then I noticed something that made my stomach twist. Silence. No birds. No crickets. Just the sound of my tires on wet pavement. I turned off the radio. The static was only making me more anxious. That's when I saw her. She appeared in the beam of my headlights, like she had been waiting all along. A woman. She stood perfectly still, just inches from the edge of the road. Her dress was long, pale, and soaked through. It clung to her body as if she'd been walking through the rain for hours. Her bare feet rested on the wet pavement, and her hair, dark, heavy dripping, stuck to her face in tangled strands. She didn't wave. She didn't move. She just stood there, staring as my car rolled closer. My instinct screamed at me, "Don't stop. Just drive past." But my foot was already pressing down on the brake. I don't even remember deciding to stop. I rolled the passenger side window down just a little. "Are you okay?" I called out, raising my voice over the pounding rain. She didn't answer. Not a word. She simply raised her hand, slow, deliberate, and pointed to the passenger seat. A cold weight settled in my chest. Everything about this felt wrong. But before I knew it, my hand reached over and unlocked the door. The latch clicked louder than it should have. She opened the door, slid inside, and closed it softly behind her. The smell hit me instantly. Damp earth, rotting leaves, and something metallic like wet rust. She sat perfectly still. She didn't buckle her seatbelt. She didn't even shiver. Her soaked dress pooled water onto the floor mats. "Where do you need to go?" I asked, forcing a casual tone I didn't feel. Nothing. Just the drip of rainwater hitting the rubber mats. I cleared my throat. "Do you live nearby?" Again, nothing. I gripped the steering wheel tighter and started driving. The road climbed upward, twisting between walls of wet black trees. I glanced at her from the corner of my eye. She was staring at me now. Her face was pale, expressionless. But her eyes were too dark. Like deep water that swallowed the light. "Did something happen to you?" I whispered before I could stop myself. Her head turned toward me, slow and stiff, her neck cracking as if it hadn't moved in years. "Don't stop," she whispered. "What?" My voice trembled. "Don't stop," she repeated. This time, louder, with a strange flatness that sent a chill down my spine. My pulse quickened. I swallowed hard, keeping my eyes on the road. Then, through the sheets of rain, I saw flashing lights ahead. A police checkpoint. Finally, someone else. I slowed down. Her hand shot out. Cold fingers wrapped around my arm with a grip like iron. Don't stop. I felt the chill of her touch deep in my bones, but I slowed anyway. The rain hammered on the roof as I rolled up to the checkpoint. A police officer leaned in, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. "Evening," he said. "There's been an accident a few miles up. A woman died on this road tonight. Have you seen anyone walking?" My breath caught in my throat. Slowly, I turned to look at the passenger seat. It was empty. Dry. Not a single drop of water. The officer frowned at my pale face. "Sir? Are you feeling all right?" I nodded stiffly, unable to speak. He waved me through. I drove off, my heart slamming against my ribs. The forest swallowed the road again. But something wasn't right. The seat beside me, it was damp, as if someone had just been sitting there. I gripped the wheel harder, trying not to look. Then a whisper. Not from the seat, from behind me. "Don't stop." The cabin stood at the edge of the forest, forgotten by time. Its dark wooden frame looked like it had been swallowed by the surrounding pines, as if the forest itself wanted to hide it. The trees groaned in the wind, bending under the weight of the storm. Behind me, the gravel road vanished into the kind of darkness that eats headlights whole. There was no sound except for the rain, heavy sheets of it, slamming against the hood of my car. By the time I stepped out, my jacket was soaked in seconds. Each drop hit me like cold nails tapping on my hood. I adjusted my hood, glanced back at the road, and felt utterly alone. The wooden porch groaned under my boots as I climbed the steps. I hesitated at the door. For a moment, I thought I heard movement inside, but it was probably just the storm. I turned the handle, pushed the door open, and stepped inside. The air was stale, carrying the smell of damp wood and long-forgotten dust. I bolted the door behind me and reached for the oil lamp sitting near the window. The weak flame flickered to life, barely pushing back the shadows. They stretched along the log walls like they were alive, moving when I didn't. I set my bag down, checked my phone. No signal, not even a single bar. No neighbors for miles. Only the forest and the storm outside. I kicked off my boots, sat near the cold fireplace, and tried to warm my hands. The rain hammered on the roof like thousands of tiny drums, while the wind whistled through the cracks in the walls. Every gust made the old cabin groan, as if the wood itself didn't want me here. Hours passed. I sipped lukewarm tea and let the rhythm of the storm lull me. It was almost peaceful, until the sound changed. It came suddenly, cutting through the noise of the rain. A knock. 3 slow, deliberate taps on the front door. I froze. "Who's there?" I called, my voice unsteady. No answer. Just the rain, and the sound of my own breathing. I stood there, every instinct screaming at me not to open the door. But curiosity, pushed me closer. I reached for the handle and then stopped. Something deep inside whispered, "Don't." I exhaled, trying to calm myself. That's when I heard it again. Not from the front. From the back door, a slow, drawn-out creak. Wood scraping, like someone slipping inside. I spun around, flashlight in hand, heart pounding against my ribs. The back door was ajar, wide enough for someone or something to have stepped through. The wind howled through the gap, making the lamp flicker violently. I slammed it shut and locked it with trembling hands. Silence followed, but only for a moment. Then I heard it. Footsteps upstairs. Slow. Heavy. Deliberate. My breath caught. I was supposed to be alone. Wasn't I? I grabbed my flashlight and the hunting knife I'd spotted on the kitchen counter. The stairs groaned under my weight as I climbed. Every creak echoed too loudly, like the cabin was warning whatever was up there. The hallway above was pitch black. The beam of my flashlight trembled as I moved. 3 doors. All closed. I pushed the first one open. Empty. Just broken furniture and a floor thick with dust. The second. A cracked mirror leaning against the wall. A single chair in the corner. Nothing else. The third. I reached for the handle. It didn't move. Locked. From the inside, I pressed my ear against the wood and heard it. Breathing. Slow, steady breathing, just a few inches away. I held my breath. Then came a whisper. "Don't go." I stumbled backward, almost dropping the flashlight. A shadow moved under the gap of the door, sliding across the floor like smoke. That was enough. I bolted down the stairs, 2 steps at a time. Grabbed my coat. Yanked open the front door. The storm hit me in the face like a slap. But outside, on the porch, muddy footprints, fresh, leading inside, and then I saw something worse. The footprints didn't just come in. They went upstairs, and one set, smaller, lighter, was coming down. I froze. The steps stopped halfway. Silence. And then, one slow creak like someone shifting their weight. I didn't wait. I ran into the rain, heart pounding, not daring to look back. It was 2:13 a.m. when I heard the knocking. 3 faint, deliberate taps on the front door. Not loud, not urgent, just slow, like someone checking if I was awake. At first, I thought I was dreaming. The storm outside had been relentless, and I'd fallen asleep on the couch. The glow of my laptop screen still flickered, paused on a horror podcast I'd been listening to. I pulled off my headphones. The room felt wrong. Too still. Too quiet. And then, tup, 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 tup. I sat upright, heart pounding. Who the hell knocks at 2 a.m.? The cabin was miles from town. No neighbors, no passing cars, just the forest and me. I got up slowly, my bare feet sticking to the cold wooden floor. Each step toward the door felt heavier, like some instinct was pulling me back. I glanced at my phone. 2:13 a.m. No messages, no missed calls, no reason for anyone to be here. I reached the door and leaned toward the peephole. At first I saw nothing, only the dim glow of the porch light barely cutting through the mist. Then I saw her. A small figure, standing still. Not moving, not even shivering. A girl. 9, maybe 10 years old. Her hair was dark, tangled, clumped together with rain. She wore a thin t-shirt, 2 sizes too big, and pants that dragged on the wet porch. Her arms were bare. Her feet. Bare. The night air was near freezing. I froze. My hand hovered over the lock, but I didn't touch it. "Hello?" I called, my voice cracking slightly. The girl's head snapped toward me. Not turned. Snapped. Like a puppet pulled by a string. She tilted her head slightly, as if listening. "Will you let me in?" she whispered. Her voice was wrong. Too quiet. Too flat. Empty. "Where are your parents?" I asked, forcing my voice to sound steady. "They're coming," she said flatly. That was it. No emotion. No fear. Nothing. The porch light flickered. For a moment, everything went black. When it came back on, I saw her face clearly. Her eyes. Oh God. Her eyes. They weren't brown. They weren't even human. They were black. Completely black. Like 2 bottomless holes. I stumbled backward, heart pounding against my ribs. "Please, let me in," she said again. Her tone hadn't changed. Still flat. Still wrong. She stepped closer to the door. Her bare feet made no sound on the wet wood. I realized my hand was still on the lock. I yanked it back. "No," I whispered. She tilted her head again, this time with a sharp, jerky motion, and pressed her hand against the door. The skin on her palm looked pale, almost gray, with water dripping from her fingertips. "Please." She smiled. It was small, unnatural. A smile that didn't reach her eyes. My phone buzzed on the table behind me. I turned, startled. No signal. No notifications. But the screen flickered. I looked back at the door. She was closer. Right up against the glass. Her black eyes stared through me, like they could see every thought in my head. "Let me in." Her voice wasn't quiet anymore. It was lower. Flat. Like a command. I backed away from the door, my hands shaking. The lights in the cabin flickered. One by one. until everything went black. When they came back on, she was gone. The porch was empty. Rain poured down. But the footprints remained. Bare, wet, fresh. I turned away, trying to steady my breathing. Then, a faint tapping, not at the front door, but behind me. I spun around. Through the back window, her face stared in, closer than before. Her black eyes unblinking, her smile wider now. "Let me in,"